Let's settle here in Ghana. We begin with some news from the banking sector because that sector is gradually shifting from the full branch operations to an era of digital and agency banking. Now, after the banking sector cleanup, some foreign banks have boosted their performance with increase in deposits due to the loss of confidence. Now, Bank has, however, added agency banking to its existing 29 branches. Ebenezer Sabute has more in this report.
Citi Bank is expected to complete moves to use agency banking to grow its deposits by the end of this quarter 2019. According to the bank, even though there's a strong confidence in the banking sector after the Bank of Ghana cleanup exercise, some local banks still struggle to mobilize deposits compared with their foreign counterparts. Executive Director of the bank, Philip Oredu, addressing brokers and some shareholders at the facts behind the figures in Accra, disclosed that the bank is implementing a digital strategy with some agents to support expansion.
It's a product which basically allows us to improve upon our footprints through agents. So basically you can have somebody like a pharmacy, a filling station, being an agent of the bank. And by so doing, you are able to provide your products and services to a wider market. So in the first place, that is going to ensure that our clientele base grows. It's going to ensure that our services are easily available to the market, and through that we'll be able to mobilize deposits.
Philip Oredu has also been commenting on the bank's capital adequacy ratio.
Capital adequacy, as at now, as you saw, is about almost 18% now. So the 18%, you manage your capital adequacy by ensuring that your risk-weighted assets that you have in relation to your capital is well managed, so that you stay above the minimum of 13%, but also ensure that you are managing your capital very well, so that you also don't go up high.
The bank's income and profit before tax grew by 27.3% and 22.5% year on year.
Now, the fourth edition of the Ghana Chief Executive Officer Summit, slated for May 20 to May 21, will explore the capacity of an ongoing technological revolution to transform Ghana's economy. The forum, which is themed the Futuristic Economy, Technology-Driven Future of Business and Governance for Economic Transformation, will see about 400 CEOs from across the African continent participate. Speaking at a cocktail event to announce the speakers for the CEO Summit, the CEO of the Chief Executives Network Ghana, NSD Graft Ejiri, said the discussion had become necessary because the world of business and governance is at the threshold of transformation.
We all know that the gap between the public sector and the private sector is very wide. However silent it is, it still continues. There isn't a single platform in Ghana that engages from the president to ministers, policymakers, to the private sector. So what we have done today is that we've been able to create a platform where the president knows that it is this time of the year I need to meet these captains of industry to inform them about the policy directions. And it's also the time for the private sector to engage the ministers, cabinet ministers in particular, and the government in regards to doing business in Ghana and the practicality of the economy. We have a panel that is going to address how to radically transform your businesses. And mostly in Ghana, business do not travel after the life of the owners. That's one. Two, most Ghanaian businesses don't go multinational. Sometimes there are opportunities outside Ghana, in Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, but you still find, I don't know if it's a mindset or cultural thing. They have what it takes, but they will still not venture to kind of expand their businesses. Yeah, so that is what I meant. So at the summit, we are bringing people who have been able to build their businesses across the borders of Ghana and indeed across many borders, those who have built Pan-African businesses, for them to share, in their challenges, in their failures, and how they were able to surmount some of these failures.
You're still watching Business Live. Now, trade in any part of the world is vital for economic development. Right here in Ghana, it's often said that we import more than we export, resulting in a trade deficit, and that's no good news because of the implications it has. But have we ever recorded a surplus? Where were we exporting more than importing? Rather, we are going to find out tonight. Philip Namfori joins me in the studio with some education. Philip, that's because we have got some information from the Bank of Ghana, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so first let me just start off. What is this trade deficit, trade surplus? It all comes under balance of payments. Balance of payments is a measurement of a country's transactions with the external world. So Ghana's transactions with people in Africa, with countries in Europe, US, etc. So that's balance of payments. Under balance of payments, we have current account, capital account. Current account is where we have our trade balance. That's the visible goods, what we see, our exports and our imports. So gold, cocoa, oil, exports come under our balance of trade, under current account, which is part of balance of payments. So yeah, that's a summary of it.
So how are the numbers looking at? Like, I understand that we've got the numbers for the first quarter of this year.
Okay, so I put together from 2016 right down to 2018. And if you look at it as it's been displayed there, you see that on the left-hand side, you see 2016, 2017, 2018, and it's in US dollars. This data from the Bank of Ghana's statistical bulletin, quarterly statistical bulletin. So if you look at our exports, in total, from 2016 to 2018, it's been going up from $11 billion right up to $14 billion. If you look at the components of each, so cocoa beans and products, you realize that in 2018, we're doing about $2 billion. You look at gold, about $5 billion. Look at timber and timber products, about 221 million. Crude oil, 4 billion, and other exports, 2 billion. Now, if you look at the range of the numbers, you see that crude oil has gone up from 1 billion in 2016 to 3 billion in 2017, and it jumps to 4 billion. And you look at gold also has gone up from 4 billion in 2016 to about 5 billion in 2017, and to about 5.4 billion. It's even come down in 2018. So it just gives you a picture of what we are sending out there, our main export items, cocoa, gold, oil, timber, and we have other exports. And if you look at the ones that are dominating, you see cocoa dominating, you see crude oil dominating, and you see gold dominating. Now look at our imports, non-oil imports in 2018, about 10 billion of that, you understand? Okay. But if you look at the imports for 2018, total 13 billion, and you look at the exports for 2018, that's 14 billion. You realize that we've taken more out than we brought in. So that will result in a trade surplus. Some were saying surplus, some were saying surplus, yeah. But it's a trade surplus. If we're bringing in more than we're taking out, then we have a trade deficit.
All right.
That's it. That's basically it.
And so this actually looks good. I'm sure people watching have seen so many numbers, and so they're asking, so what? What does it mean then if we are exporting more than we are importing? How is that helping our economy?
Well, let's connect with the most easy one, the foreign currency supplies. We get enough into the country. When we are taking more out, well, obviously we're going to sell these and we're going to generate foreign currency. Okay. But if we're going to be bringing more in than we're taking more out, obviously then we have a deficit of foreign currency.
But I should also note the first quarter of the month, of the year rather, was when we're having struggles with the Citi.
That's one was attributable to the restriction the IMF placed on our use of our foreign currency. So we have to keep our reserves to a certain level. But since 2017, as you can see from the data, we've been doing well with our exports vis-a-vis our imports. So we've been exporting more than we've been importing, particularly on the back of oil and a marginal increase in gold. However, if we don't sustain this, we'll be back to the years of 2016, where you can see that we exported 11 billion, but we brought in imports 12 billion. So by all means, there will be a deficit somewhere there.
So we've seen the increase from 2017, you say. And so what would you say to people who are asking, so why are we not seeing this translate in our pockets? I mean,
now, I like this question because you see, it takes time for things to transmit from the macro side, the bigger side of the economy, to our pockets. But if we are exporting more than we are importing, one thing, government doesn't have to finance a deficit. And how do they finance a deficit? By borrowing either internally, with its implications on crowding out, or externally, with its implications on foreign debt. So if we have more foreign currency reserves than we actually take out, then that's all well and good. And then there's no rush for foreign currency as we see in our market.
And how significant is 1.3%? Is that what it is? Because that's what I was reading, that it's just increased by 1.3%.
I'm sure that's the first quarter.
Yeah.
This one is for 3 financial years.
Yeah.
It's well and good though. But you see, they are coming from commodities. And what happens when there's a slump? Right now we see the trade war going on. If any of these countries, particularly China, experiences a drop in demand, what happens to our exports? Like we saw in 2015, 2016, where the value of exports, gold, cocoa, oil, all went down, and Ghana was reeling from this, and we had to go to the IMF and all that. So, yes, commodities good, brings in money, but at the same time, stabs us when there's a problem.
All right, Philip Namfo will be coming later tonight with PM Express. What are you discussing tonight?
Yes, we'll be having in, the CEO of the Private Enterprise Federation, Nana Osebinsu, referring to all of us. We'll be discussing finance, forex, and free trade. Interesting stuff. You should stay tuned, 9 p.m.
And he's excited about it, so do join Philip Namfo at 9 o'clock for PM Express. Thanks very much, Philip, for the insight into those figures we have received from the Bank of Ghana on our trading figures for the first quarter of this year. Let's move on to some health stories. CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, Lydia Janiselby, has denied that some hospitals owe pharmaceutical companies for the past 20 months, as has been alleged by the Chamber of Pharmacy. President of the Chamber, Anthony Ameka, recently stated that medical facilities have not paid their outstanding debts owed pharmaceutical companies for the past 24 months. But in an interview on the sidelines of the Minister of Health's Meet the Press series in Accra, CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority said only the assertion was false.
About it, but it is not. I cannot tell a hospital to pay its debts. It's up to the hospital administration to decide when they are paid, what their priorities are. There shouldn't be anybody who is owed 24 months. Nobody. So it is a problem when we hear about it. Some of the challenges, I think, is, sometimes we get money, we pay 3 months at once. When the money is so big, the temptation to do infrastructural or capital things instead of paying their debts leads to the hospitals getting into some financial difficulty. I think it's about education for the hospitals as to making sure they pay for their consumables before they embark on capital projects.
The president of the Chamber of Pharmacy, he maintains the claim was true and undermined the recent gains made by the current administration in the area of health insurance. Mecca will try and get you that interview with him on the marketplace. But let's move on to some more health stories. For many who want to cultivate a healthy lifestyle with exercises, it often tends to be a bit tough when you have to do it alone. That's why joining others in Keep Fit clubs could be the best way out. Now, as part of our health and wellness trade show, we're featuring a couple of clubs in the capital, and here's the first group, the Dansoman Keep Fit Club. Sheila Tamaklo has more in this report.
So as part of this year's Health and Wellness show, we are looking at the role of Keep Fit clubs in helping us keep shape. And today I am here with the Dansoman Keep Fit Club at their residence here in the Dansoman Keep Fit Park. So here we go.
For decades, the Dansoman Keep Fit Club has played a key role in fitness for people within the Dansoman community.
So this club started about 30 years ago. It's one of the premier Keep Fit clubs in Ghana. Our training, so we have it on Wednesdays, that is the evening from 6 to 8 p.m. Then on Sundays in the morning from 6 to 7:15. So people who want to go to church can go to church. Then we have Wednesday in the evening.
The weekend workouts begin with a power walk, then sessions of aerobics and games led by a fitness instructor.
The cardio workout, something like jumping jacks. You go, you swear at the jumping jacks, and then you can run on the spot, and then you skip. If you don't have the skipping rope, you do the normal skip, and then you do the squat. The squats too, yeah. Go one, you go down, up, that's it. Go, you do some squat. As you do this, it helps. The squat is good for the legs. At the same time, it's good for the abs. So you need to be doing this at least. Let's say that if you don't have time for yourself, at least you should have about 10, 15, 20 minutes for yourself during the day, so that it will help you a lot. When you're able to do that, it pushes you away from illness.
Most members and patrons of the Keep Fit Club confirm that they are usually alert and feel more healthy after going through the routine exercises. Meet 81-year-old Samuel Alonyo, one of the senior members of the club.
I joined the club in 1993 and I have been very active since then for all these years.
Okay, so I mean, clearly, but how old are you for an old person to be here?
I'm only 80 years.
80 years?
Yes, I'll be 81 August 20 this year.
Okay.
Yes.
So this kind of workout, I mean, how does it help you?
I tell you, but for this, some of us would have been bedridden. But we do active walking, exercising, doing this aerobic almost every 3 times or 4 times a week.
Others also share their experiences.
If I can walk from, let me say, Dansuman Keep Fit Club to Sakama Junction for about an hour, by now I'm using 30 minutes to walk to the place, which is, I've seen a lot of improvement. So I encourage my fellow ladies out there to try and...
I joined the club about 6 years ago. Until then, I was not having any kind of exercise. I used to have these colds. I mean, I used to visit the hospital quite a lot. Almost every month I need to go to the hospital. But since I can tell you for sure that since I started this exercise, I've never gone to the hospital before. I mean, not having any kind of disease. I mean,
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here at the Dansuman Keep Fit Club, you know, as part of activities to keep fit, they have their own game they call the bent ball, which goes something like that. You toss the ball, touches the ground, and then it's passed back to me. Now that is a full body workout, and we're going to find out more about this. So what exactly is the bent ball?
The bent ball is a game originated by the Dansuman Keep Fit Club somewhere, some 20-25 years ago, about one of our leaders called Mr. Ajintete. Just like playing the what you call the men's, the ladies what you call handball, but this one the rules are a bit different. Anytime I throw the ball at you, you need to touch the ground and throw it back to me. I can turn 360 without moving a step. If I should move a step, it's a foul against me. Okay. If somebody is coming from behind and heckles me, it's a foul. Insofar as I've gotten the ball, I have total control over the ball until I pass it on to a partner.
Okay.
There's no gainsay that benefits of exercise go beyond weight loss, but also ensure maximum health and total fitness.
All right, so this tonight we have been reporting that the CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority is debunking claims by the Chamber of Pharmacy Ghana. Medical facilities are not paying outstanding amounts due pharmaceutical companies, and we were trying to get you reaction from the president of the Chamber of Pharmacy, Anthony Ameka. We do have that. He's been responding to the claims by the CEO of the NHIS.
I am still saying that the hospitals, some of the hospitals are still in arrears of 6 months, 8 months, and some of them 2 years. This includes the teaching hospitals, some of the Chad Health facilities, and also Ghana Health Service facilities. We have the data. Previously, the excuse most of them have been given was that NHIA was owing them. But we have seen that NHIA currently, under the current situation, is doing very well in payment of claims to the service providers compared to the situation as at the last 12 years. But this is still not acceptable in any business standard.
All right, so to what extent is this really affecting your members?
It is affecting us because at the moment, some health facilities are still owing, and we could not also get our money. Because we've realized that Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, is also not supervising the hospital to ensure that they pay their suppliers to match with the payment made by NHI. What NHI can also do to support the various the suppliers is to sign a contract with the service providers to ensure that payment to suppliers matches with the releases to them, or else revoke their accreditation. This will ensure that patients enjoy full services at the hospital. The next step is for Ministry of Health to ensure payment to suppliers. They can do it because they have a monitoring directorate that at the end of every month, all hospitals submit their bills, their financial returns to the ministry. So the ministry could easily tell those institutions that they are owing and query the hospital why they are owing those suppliers. The behavior of the hospitals and then the Ministry of Health is actually impeding the image and the genuine effort of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President, in solving the problem of national health insurance and also making sure that medicines are available at the various health facilities.
Well, in a final story tonight, US-based tech giant Microsoft Core is to invest more than $100 million over 5 years as it seeks to partner with local talents and governments on the African continent. According to a Bloomberg report, Microsoft will launch 2 hubs in Nairobi and Lagos this year. The company also plans to hire 100 workers at the center, with a projection for 500 more by the end of 2023. The centers will be used to recruit African talents to work in areas such as cloud services, which use artificial intelligence and applications for mixed reality. That's it for Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. There's more news on our website, joybusinessnews.com. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching once again. We'll be back same time tomorrow.